Okay, João, thank you very much for the invitation to be here. It was a great challenge that we both took together with the rest of the team to approach the future cities. And I was, from the beginning, particularly interested in the human factors in the city. And so my code name for this presentation is the one you see, and you will probably at the end will understand why the code name is this one. And the generic theme would be behind crowd sensing. So I think Anna put crowd sensing very well, but I'm going to try to convince you that we can go a little bit further than using your mobile phone, only your mobile phone. Well, this is the typical introduction with La Police truths. Of course, the cities are for the citizens, and actually more than half of the population is now living on the cities. We are sensing a lot of things in the city, and today we were talking a lot about that, from roads, vehicles, water, noise. But we are actually not sensing the citizens. And the citizens is you. It's me, it's we. All of us are citizens. So the point is that the power can be also in you. So we can actually be more than a mobile sensor with a mobile phone. And Anna introduced very well the mobile crowd sensing theme with the Sense My City application. But we can also go a little bit further and actually be a vital mobile crowd sensing. And this means mobile crowd sensing plus a concept that is emerging called quantified self. Quantified self has a motto, which is self-knowledge through numbers. And it's basically due to this situation. 1 or 2 years ago, you would go to an app store and you would look for vital sign monitors, blood pressure, whatever, and you would find 1, 2, or 3 devices. If today you go into one of these stores, you found dozens of them. So from simple fitness monitors, activity monitors, electrocardiogram monitors, monitoring cameras for babies, monitoring cameras for elderly, etc. So it's an enormous amount of devices that are now available, and they are growing each day. Some of them are wearable, and I'm very interested in wearable technology. So, and something is happening also by Google, which is a wearable technology, which most of you have heard about. And in this case, most of you know this guy. And actually, this is in New York subway, and he's actually wearing the Google Glass, which, as most of you have heard about, it's wearable technology also, which enables a lot of monitoring and also connectivity. But, I think the cities will not gain too much with ugly guys like this, using Google Glass, so I would prefer to see things like this. So that's basically what I'm waiting for with this type of technology. If you go to app stores, you will find enormous amount of applications for this. Things like the 10 iPhone apps for better night's sleep. Actually, I use one of them. Or Runkeeper, I use it every time I go running. And many examples you can find. And actually, there are thousands and thousands of people actually measuring themselves and using this information to manage their well-being. There is actually a movement going on. It started by 2 editors from Wired 3 years ago in the Bay Area. They just thought this is something that can change well-being in the future, and so let's try to push this up using groups that meet and share experiences of quantified self. And this has been grown. In Europe, there are already several cities, and actually, I can announce to you that Porto is the first one in Portugal to have this, and closer to us, Madrid and Barcelona, and that's it. No more groups of quantified self yet exist. So we are actually believing this concept, but these devices are usually, how can I tell it? Well, not validated. Let's not tell other rougher things. So they put the company up, they sell 1,000, 2,000, 100,000, and then it doesn't work, and then they close the company. That's basically what they do. Eventually, the users may get their money back or not. So where are we? Really, I mean, scientifically, not looking at devices that are not validated. Well, we are actually already monitoring and quantifying specific citizens groups. For example, high-performance athletes. They need this. They need this information to monitor and to know their peaks of performance so that they are coincident with the world champion, for example, world championship. Also, some patients and elderly groups, they are also already using this type of technology to manage their illness. And also some professionals. For example, policemen, we just heard about the necessity of monitoring stress and fatigue. Also firefighters, we have done a big project under the Carnegie Mellon program on firefighters. And more recently, bus drivers, which is the one that brings me here today. The clinical quality and the medical quality is very important here. So that's what we took as our main difference. So perform and develop wearable technology that has clinical quality, and from that extract good information, not things that don't work. So some years ago we developed the Vital Jacket. This is the early version in 2006 of Vital Jacket, and this was the commercial version that was commercialized by a company called BioDevices. And basically, it is able to, once you wear it, you are actually performing clinical quality electrocardiogram and actigraph at the same time. And this can be stored locally within the shirts, it's embedded in the shirt, or you can switch it to sending through Bluetooth to a mobile phone, and it was also communicating. So we have been doing a lot of things in high-performance sports, and this example is a not very common sport for high performance, but it's high performance. Can you guess what I'm doing? Clubhouse, you know, getting to the tee, looking for a ball, golf, yeah, exactly. So this is monitoring golfers. And actually golfers, they are also high performance. A lot of things are dealing, and the guys that play golf, they know, when you're doing putting, you feel the nervous, you feel your stress. So this is very important for them, and so we are also working with this type of high performance. Of course, this technology has been into the market for several years with offers from adults, child and babies. And actually, for children, for example, is very, very important because if you put them the normal systems for ECG with these big cables, they just take it out. Of course, they don't like it. But if they wear it, they actually can stand it and be monitored for a long time. Within the future cities, as I was telling you, we have been approaching drivers. Bus drivers, for example, they actually have in their hands dozens of people. And if, for example, happens, as in this case, this guy is having an heart attack, he is a school bus driver. And we have these images today because a child was sufficiently intelligent to notice that, stop the vehicle, and call 911. If not, probably this would go out of the road, crashed, they were dead, and we wouldn't have this type of footage to see. So drivers are a very important piece of the future cities and of the cities, and they need to be also monitored for different diseases, but also fatigue and stress. So we have done that. So we have been using this type of wearable technology. And for example, in our initial experiments, we went around, students went around with cars wearing this technology. And in color here, you have the cardio measures, so heart rate, etc. And there was a specific place that immediately popped up in the data set, which was this curve that all we know in Freixo Bridge. So the ones that are from Porto, they know this curve. It's a quite dangerous place. And so actually it was there. Heart rate variability was popping up there. And another interesting thing that we saw, when you accelerate or deaccelerate, the variation of the heart rate is there also, which is very interesting. So your physiology is responding to what's happening in your driving. And so that's basically where we start working on. And so, sorry, I want just you to see a little bit of this video, because here you can see the trip, and you can see immediately the red spot there. So we immediately target, there is something here in the physiology of the driver. And then we went to look, so the height is the speed, and the color is the cardiac measure. And you can see that something happened. He had to brake, and then his heart rate jumped up from 80 to 110, 109 actually, okay? And so this is the type of events that really can fatigue you and stress you while driving, and we are approaching this now more recently with bus drivers. So we have come up with a system. There's also support from Christina and from colleagues from psychology. We are also doing self-assessment of the stress and fatigue of the drivers, but at the same time we are measuring physiology, and we are crossing this information together. So this is a typical shift with the buzz going on, and when we detect these changes in cardiac variables, we pop them up, and at the end of the shift, the driver can describe if he recalls something here, if something happened, or during the trip, he can push a button when something happened that then he can describe later. This is just a zoom. So this is a bus stop, then this is speed, and then something happened there. There is actually in this case, there was an intersection. So we have collected 130 hours of quantified self of bus drivers. We detected 330 events. Overall, we were working with 25 bus drivers. 31 of these events were push buttons, so they were really not only self-assessed but also tagged by the driver, and 77 were recalled. So after the shift, they would say, "Oh, yeah, happened this thing and this thing and this thing," and then they self-assess also stress level of that event particularly. And we could use cardiac measures and see if actually our measures are separating the classes, and from these preliminary data, they are separating classes. So we are in the trend of picking up, pinpointing these places and also these stressors during the driving shift. And that's what we are doing with STCP, with the kind help of not only all the administration and staff, but also with the drivers, the ones that volunteered to enter this study. It's very important that we have access to this data in a way that is also shareable. This is an example from another project, but we are following the same track. So this is an example from a project of firefighters, which we are doing a similar approach for stress and fatigue. And actually we could build apps like this one that is accessing a server from other colleagues from other universities through web services. And we can actually do it in the cloud, and we can, of course, given the proper privacy issues, we can actually share this type of information in the future, and we want to get to this level also in the STCP driver as we have done with the firefighters. So that's basically my presentation, and we are envisioning this way to the stress and fatigue map of our city, and maybe this information would be interesting also for other local authorities to intervene in these areas, so that they can make the city less stressed and less fatigued. So that was my presentation. I would like just to thank all the entities and colleagues that participated in these projects, which is not only one, and there are other projects going on with policemen, also with firefighters. And I will leave you with these thoughts. Thank you very much.